Hello, fourth grade. Today we're going to be learning about constructed responses. So I can use the strategy RACE or RACE to help answer a constructed response. So what are you wondering? Let's think about it. What is a constructed response? I want you to give you a little think time. You can pause the video if you need, or you can turn to maybe a sibling around you, or maybe your mom or dad or a grandparent. Turn to them and tell them what you think a constructed response is. A constructed response is a short written response to a prompt or question. The question is open-ended, which means that there could be multiple correct answers. You need to use examples from the text to support your answer in a constructed response. So again, turn to a neighbor and tell them, what did you learn so far about constructed response? Please pause the video to share. So we're going to be detectives when we are using or solving or answer a constructed response. So a constructed response is a response that you construct, you build with the information you're given in the text. So you may have to read an article, maybe it's a story you're reading, but you're going to need to use the information from that text. The answer is right in front of you. You simply have to just find it. To write an effective constructed response, you need to be a reading detective. And we're going to be reading detectives today as we read through an article and use the RACE strategy to respond to a constructed response or a question. So here's the RACE strategy. Okay, so this week we'll be using the RACE strategy to help us write a constructed response. So RACE stands for, the R stands for reword. So if I have a question, I want to reword that question when I answer it. So I'm going to reword the question. A is to answer the question. Okay, so first I'm going to reword it, and then I'm going to answer the question. C is cite your evidence. Go back to your text and look for evidence that supports your answer and use that in a sentence. So R, reword. A, answer. C, cite your evidence. And then E is explain. Explain how you found your answer. Okay, explain why you answered it the way you did. Going back to rewording that question. So we're going to use our RACE strategy today, and we're going to use this article called Record Wildflowers. Let's read our article. Record wildfires. Dozens of wildfires are tearing through California. 2 of them are among the 3 largest in the state's history. Those fires are burning not far from San Francisco. The wildfire situation throughout California is dangerous and must be taken seriously, Randy Moore told the AP. Moore is the U.S. Forest Service. Moore is with the U.S. Forest Service. In an average California fire season, about 300,000 acres burn. This year, wildfires have already destroyed more than 2 million acres. Hundreds of people have been rescued by helicopter. At press time, fires had killed at least 7 people. More than 3,300 structures were damaged. More fires are likely. Peak wildfire season is just getting started in California. By now, summer heat has dried out plant life. High winds are common. Parts of the Pacific Northwest are also burning. Thousands have lost power in Oregon and in Washington. Most of the small town of Malden was destroyed by flames. This is an image, and it says, Forest on Fire. The creek fire burns near Fresno in Central California on September 7th. So after reading the article, we're going to use our race strategy to answer a question with a constructed response. So here's our question. Why do you think they titled this article Record Wildfires? Explain your thoughts. So we're going to use this question and we're going to answer it with a constructed response using our race strategy. So, all right, so we're going to start with the R, reword. Remember, reword is I'm going to reword the question. Okay, so I'm going to say, why do you think they titled this article Record Wildfires? Explain your thoughts. I keep wanting to say wildfires. Sorry about that. So reword. So I'm going to take this question and I'm going to reword it in part of my response. So I said, I think they titled the article Record Wildfires because, and I'm going to leave these dots because we're going to keep working because the sentence is not done. Okay, so on rewording, I just took the question and I reworded it in my response because I want to make sure that I answer this question correctly. The next step is the answer. I need to answer the question. So I'm going to take my reword piece and then I'm going to answer the question all in the very first sentence. So I think they titled the article Record Wildfires because, and here's my answer in purple, because an average fire season burns about 300,000 acres, and this year has already burned 2 million acres. So right here, not only did I answer the question, but I'm also explaining it a little bit. So I took this, I'm answering why I think it's called record wildfires, because in an average season, it only burns about 300,000 acres, and it's already burned 2 million acres, which is way more than the 3,000. And I got that information, that text evidence from right here in this paragraph. In an average California fire season, about 300,000 acres burn. This year, wildfires have already destroyed more than 2 million acres. So I took text evidence right from the story. So far I've answered my R and my A. So I've reworded it, I've reworded the question, and now I've answered the question. But there are some other steps. Okay, so next is C. I need to cite my evidence. Kind of just like when I answered the question, I cited evidence. I need to cite more evidence to help explain and give more evidence to my answer. Okay, so right here, this is my reword, this is my answer, and here in red is my citing the evidence. It says, these are the largest wildfires burning through California in the state history, according to the article. Where did I find that evidence? Well, I found that right here. Dozens of wildfires are tearing through California. 2 of them are among the 3 largest in the state's history. So, again, did I cite my evidence from the article? I sure did. Okay, so I've done R, reword my question, A, answer the question, and C, now I've cited more evidence. I did cite evidence up here, but again, I cited even more evidence. Okay, now comes for the E. Okay, E stands for explain. Well, if you go over to the question over here, it already says explain your thoughts. So I need to finish that question because I'm not all done. Okay, but I've done each step. I've done R, I reworded the question. I did A, I answered the question. I did C, I cited evidence from the article. Now I need to explain it. So here's my rewording the question, answering the question, providing evidence, and here's my explain. The wildfires have damaged more than 3,300 structures. This is why I think they titled the article Record Wildfires. Again, did I go back to the question? I did, and it helps me explain why I think they called it Record Wildfires. I'm still going to call it that, sorry. So Record Wildfires. So let's review, okay, our race strategy, okay, because this week we're going to be learning all about writing constructed responses using this strategy, okay. So R is to reword, A is to answer, C is to cite your evidence, and E is to explain. I wish you all the luck this week as you are writing your constructed responses.